Hi everybody, it's Miss Kirby Smith here, and today I'm going to be chatting you through why it's important to study languages and what career options might open up to you if you do study a language. So first thing that we're going to have a look at is a quick quote, and I wonder if you can think of who this might have been said by. Well done if you guessed this man here. So Nelson Mandela was a big politician in South Africa, and he advocated for the abolition of apartheid. Apartheid was a big movement for the segregation of white South Africans and black South Africans, and of course at the moment with the Black Lives Matter movement it's quite topical. But what Nelson Mandela is saying here is it's not just enough to be able to speak your own language. If you can communicate in other languages, it really opens up those doors and gets through to people in a different way than just speaking your own language. So we're going to have a look at it and explore this a bit more today. And here are a couple more reasons why English is just not, not the be all and end all. It's not enough. Okay, some year 12 and 13 students have given us these reasons as to why it's important to learn a language. And the two big ones here that I'm going to pick out are, it gives you more confidence and it gives you key communication skills that you just don't get from learning your own language. Okay, because really when you are studying GCSE, you're honing your skills in English. Okay, you are perfecting your grasp of English. If you go on to study a different language, that then keeps those skills moving forward, and you're not just perfecting them, you're keeping those skills moving forward, and takes you through to different career paths. Just a quick fact for you. We've got a pie chart here of different languages that are in the EU, obviously before we left. See whether you can match these languages to the different percentages on the pie chart. Just pause the video and see if you can do it. So, starting with the smallest percentage, 6% is spoken by the Dutch in the Netherlands, 11% by Spanish people, 16% by Italians, 16% by the French, 16% by English, 24% is German, and then the rest, all the other little clusters, all make up the remaining 11%. So you can see how influential German and French is, and those are obviously the two languages that we study at Samuel Ward. It's not exhaustible, obviously. You can go out and find other languages to study as well, but those are the two that we study. So, very interestingly, you can see that 140 languages are spoken in Suffolk schools. This is obviously not the complete list, but you can see the varied languages that are spoken. And we know that we've got quite a few of these in Samuel Ward as well. We also have Portuguese, I'm sure we have Russian as well. We have a huge amount of languages that are spoken at school. So going back to that bit about careers and employability, what is being looked at and why would having a language be a good thing? So how you gain social skills, your ability to work in a team is increased. As I said earlier, communication skills are built upon and extended. Those problem-solving skills that you might not think are associated with learning a language, but you are able to think through a problem by solving what verb goes where, what tense the verb is in. Those problem-solving skills can be transferred into the workplace as well. And as I picked out earlier, confidence is a really key thing that would just give you that edge and make you stand out from the crowd. Looking at the field of business then, okay, it's gone global today, it's international. So you're not just going to be talking to people in your own country to make trade deals or to ship things to Manchester from Cambridge. Okay, you are going to need to be able to ship things across the world. So having those language skills is going to make you desirable to employers. And on the social side of business, having those listening skills are so vital, and being able to understand the ever so slight differences in words in a different language. Okay, we know that in English we have wood and wood, we have wood the material and would the verb. So knowing the difference between those in a different language and being able to listen out for them is a key skill that people will listen for. And then obviously there's also the cultural awareness side of it as well. That's going to pay off because you will understand the culture and whether things can be done in a certain way or whether you need to find a different route into it. So it's really important that you think about those things. Okay, and a bit more to back this up. Continuing with the languages, you can join it. It's a multilingual world. Okay, you can also connect with other cultures, as we said already. Give yourself the edge. You want to be top of that pile of CVs rather than at the bottom because you haven't got a language. And then you're also keeping your options open. Right, you're opening those doors rather than narrowing them down. And then finally, a little bit more of a backup why it's so important. These year 12 and 13 students have said that it expands your range of thinking. You get to travel to different countries and feel part of the culture rather than standing out and feeling like a tourist. And you get to realise there's a world around you and you're not just limited to what's right outside your door. Again, looking at those communication skills. Languages are fun, and languages can provide opportunities here in the UK even if you don't want to go and work abroad. Okay, so there's something for everybody in learning a language. So because we learn French and German at Summer Award, we're going to look at why that is, what you're going to gain from learning French and or German. But before that, I just wanted to highlight where all our SWA language teachers have studied and worked, and we've even put a bit of detail in here to show you where we went, so you can look it up as well. So Mrs. Whiting studied in Strasbourg, but actually lived across the border in Germany. So she can speak a bit of both, or not a bit of both. She can speak both, and she used to walk across the border into France every day when she was studying. Mr. Bourne studied in Montpellier, and he's put where he lived. So again, you can have a look. But he's also spent 3 weeks in St. Petersburg in Russia. So you can have another look there and see what St. Petersburg is like. Very beautiful city. And then I lived in Grenoble, which is slap bang in the middle of the Alps. So it has fabulous access to the south, to the coast, but also to ski slopes and getting up into the mountains as well. So, and again, I've put where I lived so you can have a look and see how different it is, or how similar it is, you might think, to being over here. But all of us look back, when I asked the teachers to feed back, all of us looked back on it with extreme fondness, and we had some of our best times studying abroad or living abroad. Hopping over into Germany, Miss Utteridge lived in Rostock in Germany, and worked in a tourist information company. So again, it's not just about studying over there, it can take you to live over there as well. And Mrs. Holmes lived in Kassel and worked in a grammar school in Fritzlar. So again, and she's got really fond memories of living over there, with Modern Art Festival that she got to see. She said it was absolutely fantastic. So all of us had really positive experiences going over there. And going and living in a different country. So, getting into a bit more detail, what could you get out of learning French? So, a lot of employers, 49% of employers, rate French as one of the top languages that they look for. And this is because there are currently 67.8 million people with French as their first language, and it's spoken in 60 countries around the world. Okay, and that makes it one of the biggest languages to communicate in. All right, French is the only language other than English spoken on 5 continents. So again, as I said, it's one of the biggest languages to communicate in. France is also one of the is the world's largest manufacturer of television sets. So if you're interested in electronics, that kind of thing, we've got medical genetics, leaders in medical genetics, world's 3rd largest manufacturers of electronics equipment, and 4th largest producer of cars in the world. So there's something for everybody there. You can see the different routes you could go into that could take you abroad or take you into the world of business from England, communicating with those types of companies. It's also France is also the European leader in aerospace, and is a major world research centre in the field of high energy physics. So again, you can see the breadth of careers that you could go into that could take you, that could include being able to speak French. And then, along with English, French is also the official working language of these different organisations. So if this is something that interests you, sport, politics, international aid, Council of Europe, law, you can see that it's really important and would help you by having French as a second language. Hopping over to German now. Again, look at where it sits in importance. So 50% of employers want people to have German as a second language, or the ability to speak German. So again, why is it important? It's in the same family of languages as English, and therefore is easier to pick up than others. Okay, you can see that within the EU, more Europeans are native speakers of German than any other language, with 120 million people in these different countries being able to speak it. So it's not just limited to Germany. This is why it's 24% on the pie chart earlier. So many people can speak it. So again, looking at different careers you could go into, look at all the different inventions that have been invented by these different German natives. So we've got the light bulb, a fridge, we use these every day, diesel engine, okay, X-ray if you go to the hospital, television, jet engine if that's the kind of thing that you're interested in, and then MP3 player as well, music player. So you can see the different fields that would be open to you. Engineering companies in Britain are having to recruit from France and Germany because British engineers don't have language skills. So again, you'd be giving yourself the edge if you had French or German behind you as a second language. And then you can see here again, German is the most wanted foreign language by UK companies. Second most commonly used scientific language. So again, if you're interested in the field of science, that is a good second language to have. Germany is the largest exporter in the world. So the likelihood of you having to communicate with Germany and German speakers is more likely because they export a lot of their produce to us. And then 1 out of every 10 books in the world is written in German. So, finally, you can have a look down the left-hand side and then see what they studied when they went to university. Being a big Harry Potter lover, you can see that J.K. Rowling, she studied French and classics at university. And for those of you who've read Harry Potter, you might have picked up that a lot of her spells, a lot of her language comes from French and Latin. The big Latin roots in her spells and place names And for those of you that are interested in film, TV, Lucy Liu, she studied Chinese language and culture. And you can see the different varieties of careers they all went into. We've got an author, film star, TV and radio presenter, comedian, musician. It's never going to be wasted having a second language. So, if there's anything in there that you think you want to follow up on, please email me. Okay, my email's there. If it's something that you want to just chat through a bit more, again, please email me. Or if you have specific questions about the places that we all studied or lived in as a department, then get in touch with one of us and ask a bit more. There's nothing to be lost by getting in touch. Okay, so get in touch if you need to. Otherwise, thank you very much.